What is more dangerous in a cutthroat competition? A front runner with a flawless report card, or a queen who has absolutely nothing to lose and everything to prove?
Ugh, huh. I need a moment.
Stay over there.
No. I need to collect myself and, like, my imaginary clipboard. The sheer volume of emotional manipulation, questionable tailoring, and just pure, unadulterated Machiavellian strategy I've had to endure this week, just to witness Canadian drag excellence. It has nearly broken my analytical spirit. But I survived.
Barely.
Barely. I survived for the art, and I survived to explain the game theory behind which has happened.
Well, Snark Squad, welcome back. This one is for the queens, the kings, the gays, the days, literally all the Canadian babes. And honestly, hello, weekend. We have been waiting for you like a queen waits for a favorable lip sync song.
Truly. And because surviving the week is basically an extreme sport in itself, we have Canadian maple whiskey sours on deck tonight. Heavy on the whiskey for me.
Yeah, same.
We need the liquid courage to process the absolute masterclass in manipulation we are about to dissect.
Cheers to that, to the weekend, to the queens, and to pretending we're about to have our lives together for the next 48 hours.
Clink. Cheers to the delusion, honestly.
Oh my gosh, Snark Squad, speaking of delusion, before we get into the literal bloodbath on the main stage, can we just unpack Friday afternoon optimism for a second? Because it is unmatched.
It's a sickness.
It is a biological phenomenon. At 4 p.m. on Friday, I am a completely different person. I am like a lifestyle guru. I tell myself I'm going to meal prep all my lunches in aesthetic glass containers. I'm going to finally deep clean the grout in the bathroom with a toothbrush.
A toothbrush.
Right. I'm going to hit a Pilates class at 6 a.m. on Saturday, and I will be a fully realized, emotionally stable adult by Sunday night. I have undeniable main character energy. I am ready to conquer the world.
It is a fascinating psychological defense mechanism, honestly. You go into the weekend with this bizarre, late-stage capitalistic drive to, like, produce a perfect weekend.
Yeah.
You view your leisure time as just another project to be optimized.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Your body completely revolts. It looks at your aesthetic glass containers and says, no, absolutely not. We are going to lie horizontal and consume garbage television until our retinas detach.
It's so true. By Sunday at 9 p.m., I am in the exact same oversized promotional t-shirt I put on Friday night. I have ordered delivery 3 times. The grout is still aggressively dirty, and I'm just staring at the ceiling wondering if a wormhole opened up in my living room, because where did the last 48 hours physically go?
I mean, are we failing our weekends? Or is society just fundamentally exhausted?
Yeah.
I lean towards the latter.
Same.
The derailment always starts the exact same way for you and me, too. The true crime spiral. Because apparently the only way to soothe the exhaustion of the real world is to immerse ourselves in the gruesome realities of unsolved mysteries.
Why do we do this? Snark Squad, please tell me we aren't the only ones. Are we, as a society, just completely and unreasonably obsessed with true crime? I will legitimately start a 10-part docuseries about a gruesome, unsolved 1980s homicide at 11 p.m. on a Friday.
Of course you will.
And I won't just watch it, I will take mental notes.
We do it because murder documentaries are the new adult bedtime stories.
That is so bleak, but so true.
It's twisted, but it's statistically quantifiable. Every major streaming service drops a new serial killer retrospective every Tuesday because they know we are gremlins who require a spike of cortisol to fall asleep. But the absolute irony of it is staggering.
Yeah, the irony is thick.
Think about the cognitive dissonance. I can sit perfectly still, riveted, and binge a 3-hour forensic analysis of blood spatter patterns and cellular triangulation. But if you send me a 20-minute educational video on, say, index funds or how to bleed a radiator,
Oh, no.
zero attention span. My brain completely rejects the information.
Exactly. Because the stakes don't feel high enough. With true crime, the paranoia sets in, and the adrenaline spikes. I get so emotionally invested in the victims, but also so utterly terrified for my own safety.
Right.
Like, I have literally paused episodes at 2 a.m., pulled up my phone, and frantically Googled, could this specific type of home invasion happen in a third-floor walk-up in our exact zip code?
The panic is real.
I'm checking the structural integrity of the deadbolts while simultaneously crying over the victim's childhood backstory.
And that very specific hypervigilant anxiety seamlessly triggers the next phase of the weekend delusion, which is the comfort food spiral.
Yes.
Because nothing soothes the existential dread of a true crime binge quite like complex carbohydrates.
Right.
Specifically, the sandwich spiral.
Baby, sandwiches, sandwiches. I will passionately, aggressively argue this point until my dying breath, and I don't care who pushes back. Sandwiches are criminally underrated in the culinary hierarchy.
I go off.
They are.
Yeah.
They are the perfect, most highly engineered food delivery system on the planet.
Well, the reason people underestimate the sandwich is that they have been traumatized by the sad desk sandwich. You know the one.
Ugh, the worst.
2 pieces of gummy, mass-produced wheat bread that stick to the roof of your mouth. A single sweaty slice of processed turkey that smells faintly of despair. And wilted iceberg lettuce that offers no crunch, only sorrow. That is not a sandwich. That is a cry for help.
The tragedy, literally a culinary hate crime, but a life-changing deli sandwich. That is a spiritual awakening. It can shift your entire emotional paradigm.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Fresh, crusty sourdough that has just enough resistance to scratch the roof of your mouth. A mountain of perfectly shaved, peppered pastrami that melts on the tongue. The exact right ratio of a sharp, acidic mustard to cut through the richness. It's a symphony of textures.
You're literally salivating right now.
I can't help it.
But you are analytically correct. If I put my psychological hat on, and I always do, a sandwich order reveals a person's entire psyche.
Oh, 100%.
It's like a Myers-Briggs test, but edible. If someone orders a plain turkey and mayo on white bread, I know immediately they have 0 spice tolerance, they fear confrontation, and they probably leave passive-aggressive sticky notes in communal kitchens.
Yeah. So accurate.
Now, my ultimate comfort sandwich, a Michelin star level Italian hoagie. We're talking perfectly cured capicola, salty prosciutto, sharp provolone that bites back, and an aggressively dressed, highly acidic olive salad, all on a seeded roll. And the architecture must be flawless. The structural integrity cannot disintegrate mid-bite.
Babes, a truly elite sandwich can heal emotional damage. It grounds you. And honestly, we needed that grounding this week because the psychological warfare we just watched unfold on our screens was heavier than any true crime documentary.
Exactly. The transition is actually seamless. We go from analyzing cold-blooded true crime to analyzing cold-blooded reality TV game theory. But, babes, enough about our weekend delusions, true crime addictions, and sandwich obsession. Let's head to the main stage, where the queens are serving charisma, uniqueness, nerve, talent, and significantly better outfits than anything we own.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we need to unpack this immediately because the theme of this week was the death of sisterhood.
May she rest in peace.
The girls were out for blood this week. Real, actual, calculated blood. We have to start right in the workroom, dealing with the aftermath of Juice Box's elimination.
Let's set the scene. We return to the workroom. The queens are wiping the mirror. And Juice, bless her beautiful, naive heart, left a lipstick message proudly declaring #Team Aurora.
I was so emotional. It was such a sweet testament to their bond. You see this message, and it's about sisterhood, support, lifting each other up in a really high-pressure environment.
You were looking at it through a lens of friendship, which is a mistake. In the context of All Stars, that message was assigned death warrant. I immediately pulled out my imaginary clipboard and started taking notes because Tiffany & Co. clocked the reality of the situation instantly.
She really did.
She literally pointed out to the room that this lipstick message just paints a massive glowing neon target directly on Aurora Matrix's perfectly padded back. Let's look at the actual mathematics of the competition right now.
Okay, let's do the math.
We are halfway through the season. Aurora is the only queen sitting in that room with Maxi Challenge wins. And she doesn't just have one, she has 2. In a game where the queens vote each other out, if you are playing to win, you absolutely do not let the girl with the flawless report card skip to the finale.
I get the math, I really do, but the emotional stake of it all is what shook me. We have to analyze Nearah Nuff in this moment.
Oh, this is the crux of it.
When they're standing around that mirror, Nearah realizes that Aurora, her own Season 4 sister, someone she has toured with, someone she shares history with, did not vote to save her from the bottom last week.
Nope, she didn't.
The betrayal. My heart broke for Nearah. You could see the wheels turning in her head, realizing that the sisterhood she thought protected her was an illusion.
Save your tears, because Nearah didn't shed a single one. Nearah didn't cry, she calculated.
That is so true. She went cold.
That moment was a masterclass in recognizing you are playing a game of chess, not Candyland. Aurora tried to play it off, doing damage control by saying, "Oh, I voted to save Juice because we go way back." It wasn't personal. But Nearah saw the board clearly.
She really did.
Nearah made a cold, hard, strategic decision right there in the cold open. She looked dead into the confessional camera and explicitly stated she was severing her alliance with Aurora. The sisterhood is dead. Long live the strategy.
It was chilling.
Nearah dropping her alliance with Aurora wasn't just a betrayal. It was like a pilot ejecting from a fighter jet right before it crashes into a mountain. She saw the trajectory and pulled the cord.
That is exactly what it felt like, a complete shift in the atmosphere. It set this incredibly dark, dramatic tone for the entire episode. But then, classic Drag Race, the tension is immediately broken by the alarm. Rue gives the hello, 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 and we get a mini challenge.
The very chaotic one.
And honestly, I love when they do this. They had to get into quick drag and recreate famously atrocious design looks from past seasons of Canada's Drag Race, working in pairs.
It was a beautiful homage to the fashion crimes of the past.
So fun.
It's brilliant because it acknowledges the fandom's obsession with a truly spectacular failure. A boring outfit is forgotten, but a chaotic disaster that becomes drag lore.
Exactly.
The pairings were fascinating. Nearah and Sammy Landry had to recreate Emiance Chanel's infamous shower towel look, which is deeply ironic and borderline poetic, considering Nearah lip-synced against Amy in that exact outfit during their season.
The full circle moment. Then we had Jada Shada Hudson and Tiffany doing Miss Mocha's chaotic neon streetwear to couture disaster from season 3.
Also a mess.
But the absolute peak for me, the moment that justified the entire mini challenge, was Aurora and Makayla Couture tackling Melinda Verga's iconic Vivienne Westwood-inspired jacket. Snark Squad. You know how we feel about Melinda Verga.
We worship at the altar of Melinda.
That jacket wasn't just bad, it was a cultural reset. We will defend the earnestness of that jacket to the ends of the earth.
Exactly. The reason Melinda's original jacket is iconic is because of the utter conviction with which she wore it.
Mother was convinced she was serving.
It was supposed to be a tribute to Vivienne Westwood, the pioneer of punk fashion. Westwood was all about deconstruction, tartan, safety pins, and anti-establishment tailoring. Melinda gave us a hot-glued flannel nightmare. But Makayla and Aurora knew exactly how to handle the assignment. The best moment of the entire segment was Makayla deadpan, looking at the materials and asking, could we just get the jacket? Thank you.
Yes, I died at that. And they actually managed to make the chaotic tartan and bizarre structuring look kind of chic in 30 minutes.
They did.
They understood the assignment wasn't just to make it ugly again, but to elevate the concept of the original failure. It was a massive improvement, giving true punk rock editorial energy.
It was. I generally despise quick drag because it usually just results in messy, unpadded chaos. But this required an eye for proportion even within a time crunch. Aurora and Makayla totally deserved that win, splitting the $2,500 prize from the pre-PP clinic.
Totally earned.
But their joy was incredibly fleeting because Brooke Lynn drops the maxi challenge on them. Political smear campaigns.
The mission write and film shady political ads to become Canada's first drag prime minister. But here's the brilliant, evil twist that makes this so much harder than a normal acting challenge. They're working in teams of 3, but they have to spend their allotted commercial time explicitly attacking the other 2 queens in their group.
It's mandated sabotage.
It is. You have to be funny, but you also have to be mean.
Let's break down the mechanics of a smear campaign in the context of drag. Drag, at its core, is inherently political and inherently shady. Reading is fundamental, right? But writing a structured, timed comedy sketch requires a completely different skill set than just throwing a quick insult in the workroom. You need a cohesive brand. You need a distinct point of view. Let's look at Team 1, the Season 4 sisters, Aurora, Makayla, and Nearah.
The tension in this group, you could physically feel it through the screen, because Nearah had just secretly decided to cut Aurora loose, and Makayla is stuck in the middle, trying to manage everyone's emotions while fighting her own internal battles.
This challenge is where Aurora's armor finally cracks. I've been saying this since episode 1, and this week proved my thesis. Aurora Matrix is a flawless, mesmerizing performer, but she lacks a strong, definable brand identity.
I mean, she's very polished.
Yes, but when you think of Jimbo, you think of big breasts, high-concept clowning, and Bologna. When you think of Priyanka, you think of chaotic pop star energy and catchphrases. What is the Aurora Matrix slogan? What is the Aurora Matrix comedy crutch?
She doesn't really have one yet.
She doesn't have one. So backed into a corner in a comedy challenge, what does she default to? Padding. Her whole political ad was based on the slogan, padding is key.
It was so tough to watch because you want her to succeed, but She delivered it like a genuine, earnest political speech. She was trying to hit the cadence of a real politician when she needed to be delivering drag camp. It was stiff, it was generic, and it completely lacked a punchline. She didn't understand the why of the joke.
Precisely. The why is everything. Why is padding funny? It's not. Inherently, you have to build a narrative around it. Aurora just stated a fact. And then we have Makayla.
Oh, my heart. I wanted to reach through the screen, pull Makayla into a hug, and give her a pep talk.
She needed one.
She was struggling so deeply with her confidence. Makayla is a star. We have seen her radiate pure charisma. But in All Stars, imposter syndrome is real. She keeps getting in her own head, second-guessing her instincts, and ultimately giving away her spotlight to the other girls. During the writing process, she literally fed Nearah the jokes to use against her. Why would you arm your opponent in a smear campaign?
Because when you lack confidence, you default to people-pleasing. Makayla wanted the group dynamic to be smooth, sacrificing her own competitive edge. It's a fatal flaw in All Stars, though, credit where it's due, Makayla's straitjacket bit in the final video.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
When the voiceover accused her of being unstable, and it cut to her physically unable to walk a straight line while bound in a straitjacket, that was excellent physical comedy.
I was laughing so hard at that visual, but you're right, one visual gag doesn't save a low-energy vocal performance. Now, we have to talk about the undisputed star of this group, and honestly, the entire challenge, Nearah Nuff.
A revelation.
Up until this point, Nearah has been firmly trapped in the lip-sync assassin box. We know she can pirouette and death drop until the stage splinters, but could she act? The answer is an undeniable yes.
Nearah's performance was a masterstroke because she completely bypassed typical drag tropes and leaned into hyper-specific regional satire. She weaponized her Calgary roots.
Yes, the horse girl energy.
She adopted this bizarre, hyper-conservative, stable horses of Alberta character. Think about the cultural tropes she hit. The stiff posture, the forced, slightly aggressive smile, the passive-aggressive phrasing typical of right-wing political ads.
That was too accurate.
She wasn't just throwing shade, she was playing a fully realized character. She understood how the comedy worked. The juxtaposition of a fierce drag queen delivering conservative political jargon is structurally hilarious. She completely upstaged both of her sisters and proved she is a massive threat outside of a lip sync.
She obliterated them. It was incredible to watch a queen discover a new superpower in real time.
Okay, but then we have Team 2. Sammy Landry, Jada Shutta Hudson, and Tiffany and Co. The absolute chaos that unfolded in this group.
Chaotic is the most polite, generous word you could possibly use. I could not stop laughing at Jada Shutta Hudson. The show brings in this gorgeous, stoic, nonpartisan pit crew to use as visual props, and Jada just abandons all professionalism.
Immediately.
She spends her entire filming block being openly, aggressively distracted by them, and her political slogan, "Party for the tardy. Hardy for the tardy." What did that even mean?
No one knows.
It made zero logical sense. She kept stumbling over the words, and yet I was captivated.
It was completely nonsensical. Linguistically, it was a disaster. But this is where the ephemeral concept of star quality comes into play. Jada has this sheer magnetic charisma.
She really does.
She can stand there, say something completely incoherent, and you still can't take your eyes off her because she's so deeply anchored in her own absurdity. But the true comedic genius, the architect of that group, was Sammy Landry.
Sammy was operating on another frequency.
Sammy is completely locked in this season. She fundamentally understands her brand of weirdness, and she is weaponizing it.
Yeah.
Her ad wasn't just funny, it was a surrealist masterpiece. She played it completely deadpan, utterly unbothered by Jada's horny chaos or Tiffany's flailing. It was sharp, the timing was immaculate, and it was perfectly executed. She understands that comedy requires a straight man, and she became her own straight man in a room full of clowns.
And then there was Tiffany. Oh, Tiffany and Co.
Ugh. The clipboard is out, the red pen is uncapped, and it is bleeding ink.
Be nice.
Tiffany and Co. resorted to poop jokes in an all-stars comedy challenge.
It was so hard to watch. She just completely panicked.
We have to analyze why poop jokes fail structurally in this format. Drag Race comedy relies on wit, pop culture references, and sharp observational humor. Scatological humor is the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, it felt very basic.
It requires no setup, no punchline, and no intellect. Furthermore, because she lacked a cohesive brand, she developed this bizarre, anxiety-induced tactic where she would loudly count 5, 6, 7, 8 between every single take to reset herself.
Oh my gosh, the counting.
It completely broke the illusion of the character. The delivery was incredibly staccato, it was jarring, and it was genuinely painful to endure.
I admit it was rough. But you have to appreciate her vulnerability and self-awareness in the moment. She knows she's bombing. She's in the confessional, owning the fact that she is in her flop era for this challenge.
Okay.
But there's something endearing about a queen who knows she's sinking and just waves from the lifeboat.
Owning a flop does not magically transform it into a win.
Yeah.
It just means you have self-awareness of your own demise.
Fair.
But her survival tactics in the workroom afterwards,
Yeah.
that is a whole different conversation we will get to. First, we must cleanse our palettes. We need to talk about the runway. Category is Lavender Haze, monochromatic purple perfection.
Let's get into the fashion, starting with Makayla Couture.
Makayla gave us classic, undeniable showgirl glamour. We are talking massive featherback pieces, intricate rhinestoning, and perfectly placed pasties. It looked incredibly expensive, the tailoring was beautiful, and she presented it with the exact right amount of haughty confidence.
Yeah.
My only slight critique, and I have to be nitpicky because this is All Stars, not a local bar, is that a showgirl silhouette feels a little expected. We've seen feathers and rhinestones.
Yeah.
But the execution of the trope was flawless.
She looked like $1,000,000. The way the lavender caught the main stage lights was stunning. Next up, Nearah Nuff. She presented this avant-garde structural lavender marriage look.
Right?
I love the narrative of it, the bouquet toss at the end of the runway, the drama, the subversion of a traditional wedding dress into this high-fashion architectural piece.
The underlying concept was solid. Taking bridal wear and making it monochromatic lavender is a great starting point. But fashion is about proportion, and the proportions here were slightly off. The skirt was aggressively short. It chopped her body into thirds. It gave me very thick Willow Pill vibes, referencing Willow's famous short, boxy silhouettes. If Nearah had added just 2 more feet of fabric to create a sweeping train, it would have elevated the garment from a fun costume into a true couture moment.
Okay, I see your point on the proportions. But speaking of massive creative swings, we have to talk about Aurora Matrix.
Yes. The aristocrat cat.
I am absolutely obsessed. She walked out onto the runway with full, terrifyingly realistic feline prosthetics glued to her face.
It was something.
It was giving high-fashion, wealthy widow who left her entire fortune to her purebred cats. It was so unexpected. Usually, Aurora relies on pure, unadulterated, symmetrical beauty. But to cover that gorgeous face in animal prosthetics, that was a massive, weird, brave, creative swing, and I thought it paid off beautifully. It showed she has a campy edge.
It certainly demonstrated a willingness to abandon vanity, which I respect. Prosthetics in drag are always a massive risk because they can easily cross the line from editorial into a Halloween costume. Aurora managed to keep it editorial through the styling of the garments around the face. It was a choice, a highly memorable one.
Very memorable. Next was Sammy Landry.
Sammy Landry. Glommy Landry. A sheer, flowing lavender cape layered over a sleek lavender base.
She looked so ethereal, like a fairy floating down the runway.
She looked like a lavender tube of toothpaste, babes.
Oh my gosh, stop.
I am deducting severe, unforgiving points. There was zero padding. None.
Yeah.
In a sheer, form-fitting gown like that, the entire success of the garment relies on the underlying geometry of the body.
But her body looked fine.
You need to create an illusion. You need a hip, you need a cinch, you need to draw the eye to a defined waistline. She gave us a straight vertical line. It's a drag competition, give me a silhouette. The garment wore her, she did not wear the garment.
You are so harsh on the padding. I thought the flow of the fabric made up for it. Okay, next is Tiffany & Co. She wore a traditional Vietnamese bridal gown, the Ao Day, in a stunning lavender silk, complete with a beautiful long veil and a fan. I literally teared up. The cultural beauty, the pride, the representation. It was breathtaking to see that on the main stage.
The cultural significance is undeniable, and the garment itself was beautiful. But we are judging a Drag Race All-Stars runway, and we have to separate emotional resonance from drag elevation.
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by drag elevation? I mean taking a traditional garment and amplifying it, exaggerating the shoulders, expanding the train, playing with the volume of the veil. The silhouette Tiffany presented was completely literal. It was pedestrian.
Oh, come on.
It lacked that heightened, dramatic drag camp that takes a garment from a beautiful dress you could wear to an actual wedding, to a Drag Race runway moment.
We are just going to have to agree to disagree on this one because I thought the simplicity and the cultural pride were the statement. Finally, Jada Shada Hudson.
An absolute megazord of an extravaganza.
Yes. It was an explosion of tulle, a massive dramatic train that covered half the stage, and a headpiece that practically touched the lighting rig.
Incredible.
It was so much look, but she carried every single ounce of it with pure power. Top toot of the week for both of us, without question.
Utter perfection. That is what I mean by drag elevation. It was massive, it was unapologetic, and it commanded the room. And speaking of commanding the room, the judging panel was equally perfect this week.
Yeah.
We have to do a full breakdown of the guest judge, comedian Robbie Hoffman.
I was swooning. First of all, the regular judges looked incredible. Jimbo looked like a literal golden goddess, even sitting in Brooklyn's center seat at one point, and Priyanka served her best, most snatched mug ever. But Robbie Hoffman was a revelation.
I have analyzed years of reality television, and I have never seen a guest judge completely hijack a panel with such unhinged, Larry David-esque deadpan energy in my entire life.
It was wild.
It was a spectacular disruption of the usual drag race rhythm.
Yeah.
Usually guest judges are overly agreeable, offering generic praise. Robbie came in and dismantled the entire hierarchy.
Robbie relentlessly shading Brooklyn Heights was the highlight of my entire week. Brooklyn, the host of the show, tries to give a serious constructive critique to one of the queens, and Robbie just deadpans, looks right at the queens, and says, "Don't listen to her. It doesn't matter."
The power dynamic shift was fascinating. Brooklyn actually tried to pull rank by bringing up her People's Choice Award to validate her opinion, and Robbie, who possesses a literal Emmy Award for writing, by the way, just looks at her patronizingly and goes, "Okay, now I'm proud of you."
The queens on stage were howling. Sammy Landry looked genuinely terrified of the awkward energy, which is deeply ironic because Sammy's entire drag brand is built on awkward energy.
Exactly.
Robbie was engaged, sharp, brutally funny, and refused to play by the unwritten rules of the panel. An ideal guest judge.
Agreed.
Okay, but now we have to get into the absolute, unfiltered chaos of the deliberations. The untucked lounge, the golden beaver, and the ultimate betrayal.
Let's lay out the board. The top three are announced. Nearah is declared the winner of the challenge, with Sammy and Jada safe at the top alongside her, which leaves our bottom three, Aurora, Makayla, and Tiffany.
Right.
In this format, the winner, Nearah, holds the golden beaver, meaning she has the power to save one of the bottom queens, forcing the remaining two to lip sync for their lives.
Snark Squad Untucked was a psychological thriller movie. I am practically vibrating just explaining this. Tiffany & Co. walks into that room, sits on that couch, and realizes she is in a bottom three with Aurora and Makayla, two massive heavy hitters who have incredible track records and immense fandoms.
Titans of the season.
So what does Tiffany do? She performs a calculated humiliation ritual.
It wasn't a ritual, it was the possum strategy. It was a masterclass in reality TV, survival strategy, and game theory. Tiffany intentionally, calmly, and methodically paints herself as the absolute weakest link in the room. The flop, the non-threat. She strips away her own ego and basically tells Nearah, Jada, and Sammy, "I am no threat to any of you. I am terrible at this game. I bombed the challenge. Save me," so you could force the two real threats to eliminate each other.
And the craziest part is that it worked flawlessly, because on the other side of the couch, Aurora completely misread the temperature of the room. Aurora gives this highly polished, very generic, almost pageant-like plea, like, "I want to be here so badly. This is my first stumble in the competition. Look at my track record. Please find it in your hearts to save me."
Aurora appealed to their sense of fairness. But Nearah is not playing a fair game. She's playing a winning game. Nearah instantly, ruthlessly shuts Aurora's plea down. Nearah looks at Jada and Sammy and says, "With ice in her veins, all I hear is threat, threat, threat."
I gasped.
Nearah is playing 4D chess. She explicitly outlines the logic to the other safe queens. They must save the weakest player, which is Tiffany, to guarantee that one of the two biggest threats to the crown, Aurora or Makayla, goes home tonight.
It was so cold-blooded. Nearah orchestrated a unanimous vote. She convinced Jada and Sammy to align with her, and they all voted to save Tiffany. They handed the golden beaver to the queen, who objectively did the worst in the challenge, purely to force the two Season 4 sisters, the two fiercest competitors, to assassinate each other on the main stage.
It is the exact, precise strategy Aurora herself used in Episode 1 to send Jackie Cox home.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Aurora weaponized the beaver against a strong competitor early on, and now the chickens have come home to roost. The cyclical irony of the game is delicious.
So we get to the main stage for the lip sync. It is Aurora versus Makayla, sister against sister. The song is Black Eye by Ali X. And Snark Squad, I need you to visualize this performance. It was a synchronized cutthroat masterclass. They were matching each other's energy perfectly, hitting every single beat.
It was arguably the best lip sync of the entire season. The intensity was palpable. And visually, you have the profound contrast of Aurora Matrix, delivering incredibly deep, emotional, sharp choreography while wearing a terrifying, hyper-realistic aristocrat cat face.
Yes.
It transcended a lip sync. It became high-camp performance art. How do you convey the angst of an Ali X song through rigid feline prosthetics? Only Aurora Matrix knows.
The judges were so blown away, they literally gave them a standing ovation. I couldn't believe it. And speaking of the judges' reactions, Jimbo getting so excited that she crab-walked back to her seat because her bottom half was purely padding and she wasn't wearing a corset to bend at the waist. I was screaming. That visual alone deserves an Emmy.
It was a truly impossible decision for the panel. They basically tied on the stage. The performance was dead even, so Brooklyn had to default to the overall mathematical track record. Aurora, with her 2 challenge wins, survives.
And Makayla goes home. I shed real, actual tears, babes. Makayla's exit was so emotional. She has so much raw star power, so much potential, and she just couldn't fully break out of her internal shell this time around. I will defend her talent forever.
She has the elusive it factor, but she lacked the necessary cutthroat strategy. And in All Stars, strategy trumps talent. Every single time. Which brings us perfectly to segment 1, Maple Crown of the Week.
Yes. Okay, let's officially crown our favorites from this chaotic week. For runway royalty, who are you crowning?
I will fiercely analytically defend Jada's Megazord extravaganza. Yes, there was an abundance of tulle, there were massive trains, there were heavy appliques, but she wore the garment. The garment did not wear her. It was unapologetic, massive drag scale, and it commanded the space.
I love that reasoning. Okay, funniest queen. I have to nominate Robbie Hoffman. The guest judge absolutely stole the entire show.
Absolutely not. I am forcing a pivot. The guest judge does not get a competitive crown.
Aw, con.
The funniest queen was Sammy Laundrie. Her surreal, hyper-locked-in approach to that political ad was pure genius. She understood the assignment, recognized the chaos around her, and weaponized her weirdness perfectly to stand out.
Fine, I'll allow it, because Sammy was brilliant. Best confessional. I am giving this to Shada Hudson. When the girls are actively scheming in the workroom, whispering about voting alliances, and Jada just saunters by, they all awkwardly go dead silent. And Jada's confessional cuts in. We're just talking about how pretty you are. I died. The sheer sarcasm.
It was brilliant observational humor. Biggest glow-up goes to Nearah Nuff. She completely shattered the lip-sync-only glass ceiling this week. She proved she can act, she can write comedy, she can scheme, and she can manipulate a room without doing a single backflip. She evolved from a dancer into a mastermind.
Yes, she fully leveled up. And finally, the queen I'd invite to brunch immediately. I desperately, passionately want to invite Tiffany Anko to a bottomless brunch just so I can hear her loudly, anxiously count 5, 6, 7, 8 before taking a single sip of her mimosa. I need that energy in my life.
That sounds like an auditory nightmare that would ruin my digestion, but you do you. Moving smoothly on to segment 2, runway or runaway. We need to formally, decisively verdict these Lavender Haze looks.
Okay, let's start with runway royalty. I am giving it to Aurora Matrix's high fashion cat. It was weird, it was jarring, and I am obsessed with the creative swing. It proves she isn't just a pretty face, she has a bizarre, campy edge.
I'll accept the risk she took. Now for the category of safe but forgettable.
You're going to say Tiffany, aren't you? Let me just preemptively defend the cultural significance and the stunning silk of that ow day.
You can defend the silk all day, and I will defend the required standard of an all-stars runway.
It was gorgeous.
It was a profoundly beautiful dress, but the silhouette was too pedestrian for the main stage. It lacked volume, it lacked theatrical drama. It was beautiful, but it was safe. Safe but forgettable. Next category, a creative swing that almost worked.
That definitely has to be Nearah's short, avant-garde bridal look. The boutée toss was everything. The structural elements on the bodice were so cool. The narrative was there. It just needed
2 more feet of fabric to fix the proportion and elongate the leg.
Exactly. It almost worked. And finally, run away immediately.
You're going to be so mean. Be gentle. I am not going to be mean. I'm going to be analytically correct. Sammy Laundrie.
Oh, boy.
The sheer cape was undeniably beautiful, but the utter tragic lack of padding underneath completely ruined the structural illusion of the garment. If you are going to wear a sheer, form-fitting gown on a drag stage, you must provide the form. Give me a hip, give me a cinch. Run away immediately, straight to the foam and upholstery store.
You are brutal, but I know you just want them to look their best. Okay, Snark Squad, grab your magnifying glasses, because it's time for segment 3, Untucked Investigations.
The workroom was cold, the air thick with a metallic scent of desperation and hairspray.
Yes, the true crime voice.
The three queens stood at the precipice of elimination, entirely unaware of the sinister Machiavellian plot unfolding just feet away on the leather couches.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love when you do the voice. It makes everything feel so high stakes.
Exhibit A. The suspicious side-eye. We must examine the crucial non-verbal lock between Sammy, Jada, and Nearah. A silent pact forged in the fires of ambition to eliminate a frontrunner. No words were spoken in that exact millisecond, yet the bloody deed was done.
It was chilling. They literally just looked at each other, widened their eyes, and nodded. The telepathy of it all. They formed a firing squad without saying a word. But we also have to investigate Makayla in this scenario. She was holding back. Earlier in the workroom, she tried to subtly warn Aurora about Nearah being a massive threat if a slay-off lip-sync tournament happens later in the season. She was trying to feed Aurora the meta strategy.
Aurora refused to listen. She clung to her naive moral high ground, blind to the strategic knife inching toward her back. And then there was the mastermind.
Tiffany.
The dangerous calm. Tiffany Ann Calm, calmly, methodically executing her humiliation ritual. She weaponized her own mediocrity. She played the ultimate victim, convinced the jury she was utterly harmless, and survived the night. It was the most cold-blooded, calculated psychological move of the entire season.
Pure 4D chess. She played them all, and they didn't even realize they were being played until the lipstick was drawn. Okay, finally, we have reached segment 4. Next week's drag prophecies. Let's look into the crystal ball and predict the future.
My prediction for the next frontrunner. Nearah Nuff. She has officially entered her full villain era, she has tasted the blood of a frontrunner, and that ruthless momentum will carry her straight to the finale.
I can completely see that trajectory. For my surprise queen, the one most likely to shock everyone, I honestly think Tiffany might accidentally stumble her way right into the top 4. She's just going to keep surviving by being delightfully non-threatening while the heavy hitters aggressively take each other out.
It is the classic Roxy Andrews survival strategy, and statistically it might just work. My prediction for the next iconic untucked argument. I am aggressively manifesting Jada and Nearah finally clashing.
Oh, that would be good.
Jada is far too smart to not realize Nearah is the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. They are going to fight over these voting records, and it will be spectacularly loud.
Oh, I would live for that drama. For my lip sync manifestation, we are in Canada, so I desperately, deeply want Celine Dion deep cut. Don't give me a remix, give me the original heart-wrenching ballad, give me It's All Coming Back to Me, now in its full, unedited 7-minute theatrical glory.
I support that. And my one completely ridiculous prediction that somehow feels entirely possible. After the absolute chaos of the judging panel this week, I predict Jimbo will show up next week without her massive signature breastplate, and absolutely no one on the panel will acknowledge it. They will all just nod and pretend she has always looked like a flat-chested Victorian ghost.
I would scream. The gaslighting of it all. Snark Squad, this episode literally gave us everything. Fashion, betrayal, bad comedy, and master manipulation. But now, we turn the spotlight over to you.
We do.
We need to know, what is your ultimate weekend delusion? Do you also enter Friday planning to run a marathon, only to end up eating cold pizza in bed while judging reality TV stars?
We know you do.
Are you also unreasonably, fundamentally obsessed with true crime? Do you check the locks on your doors after every single episode?
Just tell us.
And most importantly, we need to settle this debate. What is your elite sandwich order? We need specific details. Bread type, meat to cheese ratio, condiments, everything. Don't hold back.
Thank you for surviving another exhausting week of strategy, sabotage, and tragically unpadded garments with us. Remember to subscribe, leave a glowing 5-star review, and share this episode with another drag-loving babe in your life who appreciates rigorous analytical breakdowns of reality television.
Stay fabulous, stay dramatic, and we'll see you on the snark side.